Welcome to another Krypton Factor. You've just met our contestants, and as you'll have seen, 2 men and 2 women tonight, which means that the chances of getting our First Lady winner are certainly enhanced. And very shortly, the points will start clicking up on this scoreboard as we begin to build our contestants' Krypton Factors through 5 rounds. And the person who finishes with the highest Krypton Factor will, of course, get another of our semi-final places. So we begin, as always, with the intelligence section. The area we're looking at this time is one that we have touched on before, but there is an added complication tonight. The contestants, as once before, are being asked to assemble a familiar form by analysing its component parts. We're going to give them 9 small triangles. On 2 sides of the triangle there are patterns. What we want them to do is to build those 9 small triangles into one large triangle, and the pattern on their side should form the red letter A on a white background. So contestants, would you like to step down now to your positions? The psychologist who devised this test has set a target time of 2 minutes, and whoever finishes it correctly in the fastest time will get the maximum 10 points. So speed and accuracy are all important, but if you haven't completed the triangle by the time the buzzer sounds, you will still be marked for the progress that you've made. So if you've got all that, are you all ready? Then go! Now, you may remember some weeks ago the contestants built 9 wooden blocks up into one big square with the pattern revealing the letter K. This is very similar, though perhaps more difficult, because with a square you could choose to build in different ways. Here, because of the awkward shape of those triangles, you really can do it just one way, and that's to complete the bottom row and build up from there. And remember, they're building on their side a red A on a white background, but on our side we will see a green A on a white background. Our 2 ladies, Christine Bloxage and Liz Huddleston. Now, Damian there on the left seems to have got something going for him. He's got the bottom row. Now that looks more interesting. There's somebody well on the way now. That is Bill Ryan, and Bill Ryan makes it. He's home first. Once you get that bottom row, you're well on the way, and that's what Bill Ryan discovered. He finishes first, so he'll get the 10 points. The battle is now on for 2nd place. And there's Liz Huddleston, who's getting very close to finishing. She's got a few problems just on the left-hand side as we look at it. I think possibly something wrong at the very base of the A. It's very close to an A, but it's not quite right, actually. But I think she's seen the light. Now that's the difficulty with triangles, that they're very difficult to handle. I think she may have cracked it this time. And that looks like it. Yes, she finishes 2nd. Liz Huddleston. Well, that was the buzzer, and as our contestants now relax, we'll award the points. And clearly Bill Ryan finished that the fastest, and so he gets 10 points. Second to finish was Liz Huddleston, so it's 6 points to you. And then with that unorthodox finish was Damian, so he gets 4 points. And Christine Bloxage, so close to finishing, but just not quite making it, 2 points to you. And those points now go into our scoreboard, and at the end of 1 round, still a long way to go, our leader at this early stage is Bill Ryan with the maximum 10 points. So on now to the section that every armchair participant reckons he'd romp, but every contestant knows is sheer agony. That means physical ability and, of course, our assault course. And it's important to remember what it was designed for, not to measure strength, but to test agility, coordination, stamina and balance. So let's see what qualities of those emerge from our contestants as we join them now on the starting line. So there's the course designed to test stamina, agility, coordination and balance. Well, so far in the Krypton Factor we haven't had a woman in 1st or 2nd place, so that may change in this race because we have 2 women, of course, in it. And let's now look at how the handicap affects both those 2 ladies and the 2 gentlemen. In lane 1 is Liz Huddleston, age 45, and she has a 74-yard advantage, so she is ahead of the first obstacle. In lane 2, age 34, is Christine Bloxage, who has 56 yards, starts just in front of the first obstacle. In lane 3, 33-year-old William Ryan, who has 6 yards over the man in lane 4, who's Damian, aged 30. So that's the lineup. We're now ready for the start, and the starter, as always, Captain Don Glynn from the Army.
Competitors, take your marks.
And obviously we'll have the two ladies clear at the beginning, because one was already ahead and one was just on the start of the first obstacle. And it's Liz Huddleston still clear, slowly being caught by Christine Bloxage, but the man making the most progress is the man in the blue tracksuit, William Ryan, who goes very gymnastically over the gate vault and is now virtually in the lead. In fact, he is in the lead now in the crawl and on to the duckboard and on to indeed the fastest part of the course, and he stretches out his lead. And don't forget the record set 2 weeks ago is 1 minute and 5 seconds, set by Harry Evans of Guildford. So can this man, William Ryan from Ealing, beat that record? In second place, and he's made a mistake on that, and he's been sent back by the adjudicator, and he's in all sorts of trouble now and has been overtaken by Damian. You must do each obstacle correctly or you're sent back, and that's what happened to William Ryan then, but it's given Damian the lead, and he's got 3 obstacles to go, and he's up onto the logs. He falls off that, so he's got to go back and do that again, which gives William Ryan the chance to get back in the lead, and he gets over that successfully, so he's back in the lead now and in through the maze. Doubles back in himself, then goes forward, and he'll have just 1 left. If he's got the strength to go up and get over that rope swing, then he'll win it. Here he goes. He gets across William Ryan over the rope jump, and he comes through to the finish, and his time at 1 minute 25, of course affected by the time he went wrong 4 obstacles from the end. But in second place is Damian. Now that leaves the 2 ladies in third and fourth place, and it's going to be Christine Bloxage who comes on to the swing on the rope. Can she get across? She does that very nicely, and she comes home, Christine Bloxage in the maroon, in third place, which leaves Liz Huddleston in fourth place.
So the points there: Bill Ryan first to finish, 10 points, Damian second, 6 points, Christine Bloxage third gets 4 points, and Liz Huddleston fourth gets 2 points. So those points now go into our master scoreboard, and we can see at the end of the second round that our clear leader at this stage is Bill Ryan, who has 20 points. So 2 sections completed, 3 to go as we go on now to the personality section. And as in previous weeks, our competitors here were given a subject as they checked into a hotel for the night. They had to write a short, witty script on that subject, and then the next morning they were given just 1 chance to sell it to the camera. And the subject we gave them this time was to write a psychiatrist's report on any well-known cartoon or puppet character. So, first to go is Damian, who chose to write a report on Tweety Pie.
My client Tweety Pie suffers from a rare disease. It's called Congenitus maladjustus, and he never feels pleased. He feels prowling cats in the world which is always sly, but his greatest fear is Catus sylvestris giganticae. He sits and preens his feathers in an anxious mood, wishing his dreams were clement and not so incessantly frued. His good friend Sylvester would love to cuddle the bird, but alas the cage is locked, and Sylvester is never heard. By accepting Tweety's case, I'm sure I've sadly erred.
A psychiatrist's report on Tweety Pie. Now it's Bill Ryan with his report on Bugs Bunny.
What's up, Doc? There's a very appropriate question from this character. This rabbit is suffering from carrot fixation and a persecution complex. He's a nutty nibbler, a funny bunny, a rabid rabbit, a long-eared loony. It stems from his deprived childhood. He was a mixed-up myxomatosis kid. He's also got a very nervous disposition, being constantly pursued by the coyote, Elmer, and sundry predators, all with immediate consumption of rabbit stew in mind, but none of which ever actually catch up with him, which is just as well. After all, who wants to eat a rabbit who's harebrained?
Bill Ryan on Bugs Bunny. Now the first of our 2 ladies, Christine Bloxage, on the magic roundabout character.
This curiously helical chap exhibits strange antisocial tendencies when approached. Obeying primitive instincts we scarcely understand, he springs away, uttering the untranslatable sound, boing. I suggest that a contributory factor to his maladjustment is the company he keeps. a small hairy dog of dubious pedigree, a snail wearing a hat, a cow called Ermintrude. His dizzy environment only serves to make him more confused. Obviously, he's the result of crossbreeding between wooden tops and a mattress. I am baffled to think what treatment is needed to sort him out. Poor Zebedee.
Zebedee of the Magic Roundabout. Finally, it's Liz Huddleston with her report on Robin Hood.
I visited Robin in the hippie commune he runs in Sherwood Forest with others who have similarly opted out of the rat race. Is he a dropout, a natural kibbutznik or desert islander, or the active exponent of a counterculture, masterminding a do-it-yourself social services system, his Saxon heritage and upbringing convincing him that the wrong people are in control? His ideas attract widespread peasant support. The nation could well learn from this before the name Hood becomes synonymous with thug.
Now you've seen all four of our psychiatrist reports, time for judging, and this is where the public as always play their part. Those recordings you've just seen were taken out to towns throughout Great Britain by the Scantel Market Research Organisation, and a cross-section of the public were asked to look at them, as you've just done, and judge them for their wit, originality and presentation. So here now are the results of our personality section as decided by the public. 38% thought Liz Huddleston was best, 10 points for Robin Hood. 26% chose Damian Deus, 6 points for Tweety Pie. 22% went for Christine Bloxage, 4 points for Zebedee. 14% chose Bill Ryan, 2 points for Bugs Bunny. So let's now put those scores into our master scoreboard. And now we can see that closing situation, Liz Huddleston has 18 points, closed the gap, but Bill Ryan is still the leader with 22 points. And without wasting any more time, let's go straight into the observation section. And as always, a clip of film, and afterwards 3 questions each for our contestants, and after that, an even more demanding piece. So, contestants, would you now like to turn, look at your screens, and this week's film clip is coming up, so watch very carefully because it's coming up now.
Tony! All right, Tony, that's long enough. Now, this is my plan. Step number 1, I will recruit the world's greatest criminal mind. Step number 2, I will build an organization so sinister, so powerful, that by comparison, the Cosa Nostra will seem like the Vienna Boys' Choir. Here is the list.
But half of these men are in prison.
We'll get them out.
Impossible.
I'll bet you 20 million francs it is.
Why would I get 20 million francs?
I thought you'd ask that. Step number 3. Next Thursday at precisely 2 p.m., you and 6 men will enter the main branch of the Paris Credit Bank.
This afternoon at approximately 5 minutes to 5 o'clock, 3 men dressed in building maintenance uniforms entered and robbed the Paris Credit Bank.
Now then, what do we know? 1, that Professor Fassbinder and his daughter have been kidnapped. 2, that someone has kidnapped them. 3, that my hand is on fire.
Now, gentlemen, what's going on?
Good afternoon, sir. Inspector Clouseau has been interrogating the staff. Inspector Clouseau, Superintendent Quinlan.
Oh, Inspector.
Superintendent.
Why don't you just tell Paris that he's incompetent and request that he be taken off the case?
Gus, I've got enough trouble with France without suggesting that their great detective is a fool.
Steady.
So a clip there from the Pink Panther Strikes Again. If you'd all like to turn and face me, you've got 3 questions each, 2 points for each correct answer. As always, you've got an either-or question, 1 on the visual content, 1 on the dialogue. So Damian Deus, here come your questions. At the beginning of the film, when the man escaped from the train by helicopter, was he lifted into the air from the front or the back of his carriage? Front. Correct, 2 points. How many people were listening to Clouseau's deductions by the fireplace?
2.
No, it was 3. What was to be step number 1 of the villain's master plan?
To raid the Credit Bank of Paris.
No, it was to recruit the world's greatest criminal mind. That was step number 1. So on to Bill Ryan. According to the news bulletin, how many men robbed the bank? 3 or 4?
4.
No, it was 3 according to the news bulletin. Inspector Clouseau was forced to plunge his burning hand into a vase. What was on the table beside the vase?
A statuette of a deer. Or
Yes, absolutely right. 2 points. The villain was going to build an organisation so sinister and powerful that by comparison, the Cosa Nostra would seem like what?
Vienna Boys Choir.
Right, another 2 points. Christine Bloxage was the English superintendent who was introduced to Clouseau in the lounge wearing gloves or not?
No.
Correct, he was not. 2 points. At the fireplace, Clouseau was speaking to 3 people, as we've already established. One was a gardener, another was a beekeeper. Who was the third?
A nurse?
No, it was a chef. And finally, your dialogue question. At what time precisely were the men meant to enter the Paris Credit Bank according to the master plan?
6 p.m.
It was 2 p.m. So on to Liz Huddleston. When the pellets were being removed from the superintendent's posterior at the end of the clip, how many pellets did you hear drop into the dish? 3 or 4?
4.
3. What was the policeman who introduced Clouseau to the superintendent in the lounge holding in his hand? Must take an answer. Am I going to get
A
one?
notebook.
A good guess. No, it was a pen. And for how much was the bet on whether the men could be got out of prison as part of the master plan?
20,000 francs?
Wrong. It's in fact 20 million francs. So that is the end of that section. A possible 6 points you could have got. The best was Bill Ryan, who got 4 points. But you can all add another 4 points now as the potential of the round is raised to 10 points with one of our famous identity parades. Now you remember the very last shot you saw in the film in close-up was of a doctor who removed the pellets from the superintendent's posterior. And not surprisingly, here we have 9 doctors or surgeons from which to choose. Now that might look a bit difficult at the moment. We're not going to be that unfair on you. Would you like to remove your masks, gentlemen? Now it's the very last shot you saw in close-up was the surgeon who removed the pellets. Which one was it? You've got a few moments to think as they parade in front of you now, and then you'll have to decide. The surgeon from the film. So as they line up for the last time, have a last look. You've got your indicator panels on your laps. In a moment, I'll ask you to press the number that you think corresponds with the number of the surgeon here that you feel was in that film. So your last look, when I give the word, press the number. Are you ready? Will you press the number now? Right, you've all made your choice. Let's see who you've taken. Damian Deus has gone for surgeon number 9. Would he step forward, please? Bill Ryan has gone for number 3. Would he step forward, please? Christine Bloxage has taken number 4. Would he come forward, please? And Liz Huddleston selected number 8. Would he come forward, please? So there are the 4 choices. Which of them is right, if any? Could I now ask the surgeon in that film to make himself known to us? Right, it's surgeon number 3, Guy Standeven. So just Bill Ryan spotted the surgeon, so he gets the extra 4 points. And looking at the points as a whole for that observation round, Bill Ryan won it with 8 points. Then Damian Deus with 2 points and Christine Bloxage with 2 points. Liz Huddleston failed to score. Those points we put into our master scoreboard for the situation with just 1 round to go. And we've got 2 people in second place, Liz Huddleston and Damian Deus on 18 points. But the clear leader at this stage, Bill Ryan, 30 points. So into the last round, general knowledge, rapid-fire questions all the way to the end. Plenty of points available. They could still catch Bill Ryan on this one. 1 point for the right answer. You lose a point if you give the wrong answer. You can interrupt if you like. Those totals will now be fed into the scoreboards behind our contestants as we go into the last round. Question 1 coming up. Is a kestrel a member of the hawk family or the falcon? Interrupted by Liz Huddleston.
The hawk family.
No, you're going to lose a point. It's the Falcon family. Which explorer born in 1868 had Falcon as a middle name? Liz Huddleston.
Captain Scott. Robert Falcon
Correct.
Scott.
You get your point back. Which Scot published a book called Self-Help in 1859? Damian Deus.
Carnegie, Alexander. Carnegie.
Samuel Smiles we were looking for. You lose a point. Which Samuel wrote about Gogo and Dee Dee? The answer, Samuel Beckett. Who called another Beckett this turbulent... Interrupted by Damian Deus.
Henry II.
Correct, 1 point. Whereabouts in London will you find the Henry VII Chapel? Damian Deus.
Westminster Abbey.
Correct. Which composer became an abbé after 18... Interrupted by Liz Huddleston.
Franz Liszt.
Franz Liszt, correct. Who sang I've Got a Little List, I've Got a Little List? Interrupted by Liz Huddleston.
The Lord High Executioner in Mikado.
Correct. Who was executed at Charleston, Virginia in 1859 for treason and leading slaves? Damian Deus.
John Brown.
1 point. Thomas Brown wrote in a doggerel verse that he did not love a certain doctor. Who? Christine Bloxage.
Dr. Fell.
Right. Which doctor fell into a puddle right up?
Foster.
Damian Deus.
Dr. Foster.
Correct. What were the forenames of E.M. Forster? Answer, Edward Morgan. Which legendary king was the brother of the enchantress Morgan Le Fay? Christine Bloxage.
King Arthur.
Correct. Arthur's seat is a hill. Where? Damian Deus.
Edinburgh Castle.
Correct. Who was the Duke of Edinburgh's father? Christine Bloxage.
Prince Andrew of
Correct.
Greece.
Which prince gave his name to a watch chain? Bill Ryan.
Albert.
Prince Albert, correct. What was the poetic fate of Albert Ramsbottom at Blackpool? Interrupted by Christine Bloxage.
Eaten by a lion.
Correct, swallowed by a lion. Which hero wore the skin of the Nemean lion? Damian Deus.
Hercules.
Correct. And with less than a minute to go, it's Bill Ryan on 31, and nearest to him is Damian Deus with 23. Hercule Poirot makes... Interrupted very quickly by Christine Bloxage.
Belgian detective.
No, I was going to ask you who made his first appearance in which Agatha Christie novel. The answer was The Mysterious Affair at Styles. You lose a point. Since Simeon Stylites made his home where? Liz Huddleston.
On top of a pillar.
Correct. Who was put in the pillory in 1702 for his pamphlet? Interrupted there by Damian Deus.
Daniel Defoe.
Daniel Defoe, correct. Daniel was a hit record for which singer? Interrupted by
Elton
Damian
John.
Deus.
Elton John.
Elton John, correct. What branch of the biological sciences was virtually founded by Charles Elton? The buzzer goes, no one answers. The answer was ecology, but that is the end of the round, and indeed tonight's contest, which means that our winner tonight with a Krypton Factor of 31 is Bill Ryan. So it's our congratulations to Bill Ryan, but Damian Deus came up very strongly in that last round to finish in second place with 25. But it's Bill Ryan who goes through to our semi-final. We're back next week, 7 o'clock, with another Krypton Factor. Good night.